Hello everybody, this is Vit and welcome to another episode of the Success Inspired podcast. My guest today is a business coach and mentor who helps health and wellness professionals with filling their practice each week. She found success in her own health coaching, making $9,000 per month within the first 6 months. While successful very early on, after her miscarriage, supporting people with their bodies no longer felt right. So she made a transition to teach health coaches the formula she has followed to have her success so early on, without any sales or marketing experience or network. Now, Chloe runs a very successful coaching business, has done speaking gigs, and is a business innovator helping scale health and wellness businesses in New Zealand and globally. She's here today to empower you to make an impact in the world, get out of your own way, where the mind blocks need clearing, and to establish the simplest of business processes so your business enables freedom while you take this radical transformation ride. Please welcome to the show, Chloe McCreedy. Now I'm gonna do something different today. I normally do this really cool intro and what I found is I get guests coming on the Zoom and we have a chit chat and everybody feels like, oh, this is not a podcast yet, and it's feels more natural, and then it's like, okay, well, let's do it, and then it's like it flips and then suddenly it's like a bit awkward. So instead of sort of pausing and then doing some sort of an intro, we're already in.
Beautiful. I'm in.
We're already in. And for those of you guys listening, I'm here with Chloe McCreedy, and I'm going to add that awesome intro later. And by now you've heard it.
I love that. Perfect intro. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Chloe, we've had a conversation about it a month ago, and from what I remember, you do consulting for small businesses. You help them scale their business. Is that right?
That's right. So mostly people that are looking to move their business online or generate more business online. That's what we largely focus on. So anything in digital marketing, that kind of thing, in that sort of realm, but a little bit of mindset as well to really get the wheels turning in people's businesses. Yeah. Awesome.
What inspired you to start this business?
Okay, so I where do I start? When I first launched into my career, I had this idea that I was going to earn a ton of money, and then I was going to go and do my overseas experience anywhere in the world. I just wanted to travel, and I fell into this job doing software implementation work. So implementing CRMs or business automation systems, things like that. And I did that for nearly nine years or so, and all that time. So I think for the first part, you're in your 20s, you're excited, you're motivated, career's everything, you want to go traveling, do all that kind of stuff. So I was so in it and I was loving it, and managing these awesome teams around the world, all that kind of stuff. But there was this little thing that just kept nagging at me, probably about 5 years in, where it's like, you've got more potential, you could be doing more, you could be helping people. And I always found myself with the people I was managing, I always find myself coaching them on, where they're going, and empowering them, and, what's your next level of success look like. And so I kept coming back to that, and I kept feeling like there's something more, there's like a legacy I'm meant to be leaving or something like that. Anyways, it went on for years. I just ignored it, as probably many people do from conversations I've had, is, yeah, they know that they could do more, but change is hard. It's scary. So stay with what you know, what's paying well, and doing all those kinds of things. And and so what happened that finally gave me the kick in the butt that I needed to actually do something about it and start my business was I flew to South Africa with my husband, who wasn't my husband at the time, my fiance. And we had the year before he'd just proposed to me there. So we were so excited to go to South Africa. We're going to have this awesome holiday. One of our friends, two of our friends were getting married as well. And so we jumped on the plane, so excited. I'd sent this email out to my team saying, see you later, I'm off on a safari and all this kind of thing. I was so excited. Nice. We got to South Africa, so it was a 14-hour flight, and they stamped my husband's passport, and then they looked at me and they said, ma'am, where's your visa? And I was like, what do you mean? I was here last year. We didn't need a visa. When I booked, didn't need a visa. So what do you mean? And what had happened is, and I laugh about this now, at the time I was like devastated.
Yeah.
But what happened was, maybe 3 or 4 weeks prior, the laws changed in South Africa. So it was kind of a couple of months before that. New Zealand had changed their laws around visas and things like that, and said South Africans had to fill out a visa instead of just having this, automatic granted visa. And South Africa in response went, screw you. And they did the same. And the problem with that was that, I couldn't get into the country, couldn't buy a visa, couldn't do anything like that. And they actually locked me up. So they put me in this, detention center, they call it. And that was just one of those moments where I don't need to go into all the details of what it was like in there, except to say that it wasn't a trauma, but it was enough of a threat for me to be like, if I look back on my life and I'm sitting there thinking, I have this legacy to leave, I have more potential, I could be helping more people, and if this was a defining moment for me, have I done everything I could to really appreciate, my life leading up to this? And it was, I couldn't say yes. I felt like I'd really neglected my needs, my purpose, my legacy when I looked at that time. And so my husband had to stay because he was part of the wedding. So he stayed in South Africa. I got sent home in a plane about 24 hours later. And on the flight, I made a decision that I was going to do what it took to fulfill that. I didn't know if it was going to be a business. I had no idea, to be honest.
Just start something.
I just knew I had to do something. Yeah. And that's where it started. So, I kind of combine the software implementation stuff, but I do a lot of mindset. I've studied coaching. I apply a lot of different methods and things like that. So over since that time, I've really invested in developing myself and really finding out what my mission, my legacy is. And that's what my business supports me with doing, which is actually empowering teens. So it's totally completely different field, but empowering teens with the education that's kind of missing around, establishing really clear boundaries and managing self-esteem in this whole world with social media and, so much noise around. So that's where I landed. Long story short, well, not short at all, sorry, really short story long, essentially.
Yeah, something like that. Look, that's awesome story. And it sounds like you were a natural born entrepreneur. It sounds like you had that, the energy to do something. When I reflect back when I was a kid, I always felt similar. When I was actually, I don't have a story of being locked down in South Africa, but I come from a town which was it is still split by a river. It used to be 2 towns. The name of the town now is called Friedeck Meestek. So Friedeck is on one side of the river, Meestek on the other side of the river. And I grew up in Friedeck in the first part of the town, and then my parents decided to move to the other across the river, right? And you talk in a small town, 65,000 people, but what I found was, the friends that I made on one side of the river when my school was and everything, they've never been to the other side. I'm like, what? And I felt, by that stage, I felt like I'm well traveled, I knew the whole town and and just gave me this awakening, like, what are you guys doing? Like, and like, I was raised to be very active. My parents, we would always go up to mountains on the weekends and do, bushwalks and, skiing and whatnot. And I found a lot of other kids in my age weren't, they weren't even leaving the town, not even their half of the town, like what's going on here? And so from a young age, I always felt like, well, I always feel like, like I didn't understand it. Like, how can you be comfortable with just where you're at? Like, why wouldn't you want to go and check out the other side? Like, oh no, just everything's here. I'm like, wow. And then when I was 18 and I left Scotland and traveled, and now I'm in Australia, and still, like, I have friends and they'd never left, and I'm like, wow. So I'm like wondering what it is. Some people. I mean, it's not that it's bad or good. It's just I don't know. Just
I have a theory. Just because, I mean, partly just the story you explained resonates a bit with me. So my childhood was constant change all the time. So, my dad, with his career and the way it was moving and what he did in the forestry industry, it just meant that we had to move all the time. So it was every couple of years we had to get comfortable with making friends and then leaving them behind and establishing a whole new life somewhere else. And so, you talk about going over the river and experiencing a whole new town and then going, oh, there's actually more here. So what else? You start asking what else is there. And I mean, we did that so many times. Like, I've lived in more houses than I think years that I've lived. But it is that I know for me that I got comfortable with change because I had to. I was always constantly pushed into that. And now it doesn't feel natural to not have change. I was living in Sydney for 7 years, and I got to a point where, every probably 6 months or so, I'd rearrange the furniture just because I needed some kind of change, like something different. So that's kind of my theory, because it sounds a little bit like similar for you. You experienced it, you got used to it,
yeah. And in a way, it sort of makes you feel like, you've seen more opportunities. You have sort of broadened up your horizons. So then when it comes to, thinking to the future, you're like, wow, there's all these things I could do. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that, just like yourself, like, being had the chance to explore more sooner or not. But yeah, it is definitely interesting aspect when you compare, I guess, to others. And I'm not saying that's it's a bad thing to stick to one place and never leave town. Like, I mean, I've got friends who are still there and they're actually very successful too. So I guess it's not bad, not good, just all right.
It is just what it is, and what people feel comfortable with and what they want to do, right? Like, you've either got when you're like, for us in the space that we're in, there's the flame called us, or the whatever it is, to do what we're doing. And then it's the same with the people that want to start a family really, really early, and they just want to focus on that, and that's what called them. I can tell you, I'm not well, I've recently just become a mum. I wouldn't say that I'm naturally attracted to being that. And so I watch these women who are like that, who just in love with, being a mum, and they're so good at it. And they just, I'm learning from them every day. I've got a friend that comes in and helps me, and she's been teaching me how to, put my son to sleep and things like that. And I'm just in awe of how natural, that comes to them. And it's the same with us, right? Like, with the entrepreneur stuff, it's, it's just what you're called to, wherever you are and where you're born or whatever you do, it doesn't matter. It's what you're called to do. If you follow that, then you're in alignment, it feels good, and you're good at it.
I think we can also segue into the importance of having a good role model. You've got a friend who's showing you the way of of raising your child. But let's talk about business, right? Is it important to have a coach? How important is it?
Oh, it's so important. So for me, I think I probably had a good go at it for about 9 months, just just going along and trying to figure it out. And that, that was okay, but it didn't get me very far because there was so much to learn. And so I was required to step out of my comfort zone. And, you have to, as a entrepreneur, you're starting a business, you need to be visible, you need to be seen in some capacity for your services to sell or your product to sell, whatever it is. And so I actually, I value coaches so much that I actually have two. I have one for, I'd say the mindset side of things. So, really removing any kind of barriers that are holding me back from being able to charge the prices that I want to charge, or offer services in a certain way that's really different. Like we have, we are different in the market in the terms of the fact that we promise to help someone actually add 100K to their business. We promise that, and you don't
That's
really
a bold promise.
that. Exactly. And so having a mindset coach means that I can stand behind that, and I can feel confident about, I know what I'm doing. I know my services can do that, but I can also go against the grain of what everybody else is doing and step out and do something like that. So mindset's been really critical to my entire journey and the success I've had, and the rapid success as well. So, nothing gets in my way. If I have a concern, or if I, how do you say it? If I have a belief about something that's holding me back around anything, then that's gone. It's out of the way. I've got that sorted with Mindset Coach. And then the other side of that is business coaching. So I've always invested in someone that's going to help me with the next level that I want to step into. So if I don't know something, I'm going to go find the expert that's going to teach me so that I do know it. So then I can either train my team up, or I can train my clients up, or I can just expand and grow my business as well.
Absolutely. What I like about it is also you practice what you preach. Your business is coaching. That's how you help others, and yourself, you have a coach. It's a perfect way to put substance behind what you do.
Yeah, it's what's the word? It's kind of like you go and see a doctor. A doctor, when they get sick, they need to go see a doctor too. So you're still looking at everybody has needs, and even me, after the study that I've done around coaching and even my degree in psychology and things like that, I still have blind spots, really blind. Like just last week, I was on a call with my mindset coach, who was telling me about how I'd sort of put this barrier up around deserving to enjoy and have fun. And so what had happened is, I was coming back into my business. I was trying to do everything with looking after the baby. I was trying to do everything with looking after the business. I was trying to make it really easy for my team, and I was trying to make it really easy for my husband.
Right.
And I was forgetting to look after myself.
Sure, felt like you're the one who have to do all the work, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I was fast tracking my way. If I left that alone, the next few months, I would have disappeared off social media. I would be burnt out. I would have, that would have been it. And who knows what would happen around relationships and things like that. So, Mindset Coach gives me that perspective, so I can slow back down and I can go back to my 12-hour weeks, 12 hours that I work a week, and make sure that I'm effective and efficient, and I'm not going to burn myself out in any way. So that's an example of...
Absolutely. Sometimes less is more. Absolutely.
100%.
And there's only a certain amount of brain power and certain amount of hours in a day, and you can't work at the full capacity for extended period of time. After a certain time of looking at the screen, your performance will go down, and you're not going to be productive, right? Let's talk about that 12-hour week that you've got, because I know we've had a good chat about it last time we spoke. Initially a month ago, and it was something that's very appealing. But obviously you had to get to that. But this is where you're now. You only work 12 hours a week. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. absolutely. So I I actually made a call really, I would say about 12, somewhere between 12 to 18 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where my mindset coach comes in as well. That I had been burning the candle at both ends, same behavior. I've got the same pattern that repeats where I just, like work, and eventually burn myself out. So, that this is what appealed to the coach that I work with, appealed to me about the coach I'm working with, is that she was really focused on helping you have success without struggling. So for me, I wanted to create a lifestyle in which when we were going to have a family, that I was ready for that. That I could go down to those hours. I could still earn what I wanted to facilitate my lifestyle, and kind of, have the cake and eat it too. And that required, like I said, some really brave calls, and it required me to get confident very quickly, and to get very skilled very quickly. So with my 12 hours, because I think it's helpful for people, and I'm good with sharing, I've got a bit of a guide as well. I know we haven't talked about that, but it's just something I can just flick to you, and you can send it out.
Yeah, no, let's. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's talk about that.
But it's all about creating a schedule for success. So it works out, working out what your numbers are. And so we know, revenue wise, this is what you want, and this is what you want for your lifestyle as well. So we've got revenue and we've got lifestyle, and then we step it back down all the way. So, what do you need to do in order to be able to create those sales? So how many calls do you need to have? And then from there, it's what do you need to do? What are the actions that you need to do to get that many calls? And then stepping it back down again. If there's anything else, what is it that you need in terms of your play time, your creation time, and all of that, so that your schedule really supports the lifestyle that you want, the feeling that you want to get from your working week. But also you can just show up because it's in your calendar, and it's like, this is my sales time. And so there's sales calls there. So I'm going to and that's what I'm going to do.
It's planned. You don't have to think about it. Boom.
Don't have to do anything. Yeah, that's it. Rock up and it's there. I mean, I have a team now that helps me with that. So again, taking some brave steps to give you an idea with maternity leave, I just let all my contracts finish. And then had JJ. And so now it's ramping them all back up again. And there was an element of risk to that. Hiring a bunch of people, and then also, having to ramp up the cash flow to actually support them. And it was making.
So you've hired them before you had that cash flow.
Yes. Yeah.
That is okay. Wow.
Scary.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it pays off. So it's looking at the longer term and saying, I hire these people to do a particular skill. I train them up in exactly what I used to do. So around booking sales calls, email marketing, social media. I've trained them just like I train my clients, or I train my clients' teams to do the same, so that I can rock up to my calendar. There's the sales calls booked. I do the sales calls, or I do the content planning, or I do, or I get to focus on my clients and the stuff that I really love to do. So yeah, I think it's important.
And obviously you've had it all documented and systemized before you've hired them, right?
Mostly. So I'd say to a certain extent, but I've also hired some really awesome people that have also just gone, I like what you've done there, Chloe, but I want to add this and I want to add this. And I think if we
That's
do
good.
this, so, that really high levels of initiative and drive and achievement, that helps a lot too. So I did have basic systems in place, basic processes, and then it was just about bringing the right person in to really make those work.
And that can be tricky for some people who are very like a bit of a control freak. Like they may have been used to doing certain things certain way, and then they hire somebody, and hearing that somebody saying, you know what, why don't you do it this way? They're like, who are you to tell me? Right. But I guess sometimes we just got to put our ego aside and give people opportunity to voice out their opinions, and can end up being a much better working environment. People feel more inclusive.
Yeah, and it's I think it comes back from that. The years that I've spent in management as well was my perspective was set the expectations up front of what I wanted. So aside from hiring someone with those kinds of
Attributes.
attributes, yeah, was I'd always set the expectations right at the beginning, very, very clearly. But I would also allow a lot of room. So, mistakes happen. My team are always like, why are you not freaking out about this if the wrong email goes out or something like that? And it's recognizing that mistakes happen anyway, but it's actually how you show up and deal with them. So my team knows that. They know that if something goes wrong, they're going to show up and they're going to do what it takes to resolve it, to get it back to where it needs to be, or they're going to ask for help. So that's
a big one right there. Feeling comfortable to then ask for help. Whereas in some workplaces, they might had a really bad experience when they've done a mistake, and instead of the supervisor, the boss told them, telling them it's okay, shit happens, let's work it out. Instead, somebody telling them, this is bad, and now we're going to have disciplinary and whatever. You basically shut that person down. They're never going to open up and try and voice out their opinion, and that just kills the culture. Really, isn't it?
Well, you lose all that creativity, all of that initiative. People just show up and they do what they're told, which is actually more work on you as a manager as well. And it's I've seen that happen. I've experienced it myself, and I think the mistake that happens with that is, again, it's how would you explain it? It all comes down to the hiring and that culture or that experience that you want. So if a manager shuts someone down so quickly when it comes to making a mistake, it just doesn't work. But if you hire someone that has a high level of achievement, has a high level of initiative and all those kinds of things, they're already reprimanding themselves. They're already going, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that. And, and they look after that. You don't need to be coming in heavy handed or anything like that. At least from my experience, if you've got the right people in your team, then they already care too much. Like they're just going to look after your clients. They're going to do what it takes to make things work, to create a well-oiled machine.
That's it. But there's still a fine balance. It's not to say it's complete anarchy and everybody just get creative. There is a system.
That's true. We don't know. Yeah, people can't just run wild.
Right. If you had everybody just coming up with ideas, nothing would get done. It's like, no, that's me for the ideas. You guys do this and, obviously have your input, but
I love that.
don't deviate too far, because we'll
just
be like...
imagine if it was the case, you have a bunch of like cooks in the kitchen and they're all cooking something different, it's but again, if you've got the right culture, everyone's leading in the right place, they'll always come to you for decisions, and you learn the boundaries too. So as you start to so I'd say the newer people in my team, they don't have as long of a lead as everybody else. So it's we stay close, we stay in regular contact, and as they demonstrate their skill, we get to step back a little bit and just allow that allow them to really grow.
Also, there's a good concept of just basically taking a break from your business and see how it rolls without you being there. Have you thought about doing that? Have you done that?
No.
I was on a call today with a bunch of people from some of the F45 studios. We have weekly calls, and we just touch base and talk about what works for everybody and whatnot. And there was this was proposed, like doing it as a as a thing. One of the owners did it, a few weeks back. He just said, you know what, I've just done just literally just disconnected myself for a couple of days, as an experiment, just to see what breaks, how well the team can handle it without me being there, and that gives me the opportunity to see what then needs to change, what needs to improve, because maybe the system wasn't right. So it's an interesting way to then, like if you have a business, right, and you manage to get yourself a job, right, where you're just there every day and you're hating it because you could have might as well just get yourself employed, and you're trying to find a way how you can get more of your life back, then this might be one of the ways to do it. Just go in that experiment, just cut yourself off, tell everybody, don't tell them that it's an experiment, just tell them you're going away, right? Make sure that there are systems in place, make sure that people have their roles and responsibilities already assigned, and then just leave and then see what happens.
Right? That would be amazing. I can tell you that we still have systems that are definitely that still need a higher touch at the moment. So I was thinking, I was sitting there going, oh my goodness, like imagine actually doing that. But you're right, because I don't know who told me this. Someone told me once, and I don't know who, and I don't know where this comes from, but that a good manager or a good leader will work to make themselves redundant.
I believe that's the right way to do it. Yeah,
and
for sure.
It sounds like what you're explaining as well, like just being able to, we've worked to the point where we've got all the systems in place. So now I'm out. Like if I want to take a week or a couple of weeks or do whatever, I'm out. We'll see you guys later, and allowing that to just play out.
Yeah, because you either have a job or you're a business owner, and if you have a business owner, in the ideal world, business owner to me means you've got a business that's self-sufficient, and you don't have to be there to actually deliver any of it. You're just overseeing things and managing from a bigger picture, but doesn't mean you need to be there too many hours in a day, right?
That sounds exciting. I also I love being in my business, but I know that you get to a point where there's certain aspects of your business that you start growing out of, like posting on social media or booking calls or things like that. And that's what I end up hiring people for. And I know that the next steps will be similar, like the sales calls that I do and things like that. I can imagine me outgrowing those and then needing to pass those on and so on and so forth. So, the more that you do that, and to a point where you're less in the operation of it, then that would be really exciting to be working towards, I think.
Absolutely. Because the other thing is, right, if you ever plan to sell your business, you're never going to sell your business unless it's, independent of you.
Yeah, that's true too. You've got to have those systems. So are we going to make a bit of a commitment here?
Sure.
How many years? What are we going to work towards? Where we could just step back out of our business for a couple of weeks and send you a message and be like, "That I did it."
Well, I think I'm gonna cut myself an extra year or two, just because I'm slightly behind. I had a bit of a gap year, I guess, if you can call it gap year from my business. For those of you guys listening, just a bit of a backstory. I've been running my fitness business since 2010, but I obviously had to take a bit of a break lately and just getting myself back on an employment, back on the payroll, which has been all right. But there's particular reasons, personal reasons for that, but whatever. But obviously, yeah. So it's going to take me a little bit longer because I got to reestablish a couple of things. But how about 1 year for you, 2 years for me?
Okay. All right, done. I can do it. Well, yep, I'm going to work towards it. Done. I'm in.
Love it. Now, what I also
put this on my whiteboard.
What I like what you said. You talked about the what was it? Your mindset coach, and you talked about planning. Yeah, that's right. You talk about planning and breaking it down. You're talking about breaking down the revenue that you want to create, and as well as your your lifestyle needs, like from point of like your income to afford your lifestyle and that sort of stuff, and then breaking that down to actionables like how many phone calls you do. It's the same thing like a fitness program, isn't it? I mean, if you're trying to achieve a fitness goal, you got to break that down. If you're trying to lose 20 kilos, well, you got to break it down. You got to have some real information around it, knowing that, for example, about half a kilo a week is something that's more reasonable when it comes to weight loss. And you just break that down. Break it down, break down your workouts, break down your nutrition, all the way down to, how many glasses of water a day you need to drink and whatnot, and then just stick to it.
It's so true. So, I mean, I have come a long way when it comes to my health, probably in the past 5-6 years. But prior to that, I was one of those people that would start a diet on a Monday. I'll start Monday. And half of the problem with that was the lack of preparation that went into that. So, if I'd broken it down and gone, okay, so you got to break down the food and go, right, what am I doing here? And break down the exercise. What am I doing here? And make the change simple rather than this, I'm going to live a whole new life on Monday, which is overwhelming in itself.
Impossible to happen.
Impossible, yeah. So being able to break it down into steps and go, all right, what's that first thing that I'm going to do, the biggest needle mover that's going to achieve what I want to achieve, and then being able to follow through with that, and then add something else, because it's a lifelong thing, right? You're constantly looking to improve. So you're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the systems are everything. Systems are really, really powerful.
And when you do follow them, it gives you an opportunity to then assess and look back what went wrong. Because if you haven't followed anything, right, let's bring it back to sales, for example, right? If you haven't got a properly documented system and how you go about sales, and then you're trying to figure out what's going wrong at my funnel, why am I not converting? You won't be able to do that. Whereas if you have a system which, you're logging, let's say what we do, like we do, 3 touch points, 3 phone calls. After each phone call, if you don't get through, send a particular SMS. Everything is sort of a scripted as far as the SMS goes. And, in terms of phone calls, following a set script too. If you've got it all like that, then you can then look at, periodic window, let's say a week or a month, look at your conversion rates and say, well, what can we do? What can we tweak to bring that up? And then you just tweak something in your system, you get the rest of the team on board with the new tweak, follow that new updated system for the next month, and then reassess again. You might realize, oh, well, that resulted in more conversion. But you wouldn't have been able to do that if you haven't done that. And same thing goes for that exercise.
And it's, if I was listening maybe 5 years ago, I would be sitting there going, that's too much. There's too much control, and there's too many. It's too systemized for me, because I was in that space where I called it freedom. I want freedom. I don't want to be locked into things and but in actual fact, what I've learned from all of this and establishing their systems and having this kind of automation, and even when it comes to meal planning and things like that, is breaking it down, and having that system or having that plan has given me more freedom than I've ever had. I mean, working 12 hours a week, and the rest of it, I'm looking after my son, or I'm going to spend it with my family or my friends. I'm going to the beach. I'm doing all of those sorts of things. That can only be achieved by knowing exactly what I need to do to get the result, so then I can have the time.
That's it.
Yeah.
So 12 hours. 12 hours. That's impressive. So what is it, like 2 hours a day? You wake up, have a coffee, work for 2 hours, and that's it?
No, I have a nanny on a Tuesday and a Friday, and on a Monday night. So Monday night for 3 hours, Tuesday for 4 hours, and Friday for 4 hours. And then I have maybe somewhere between half an hour and an hour at night where I might answer some emails and do bits and pieces like that. So yeah, sometimes it's 16 hours, I would say, like if I do some stuff on the weekends as well. And sometimes it might be less, like it might be just when the nanny's here. It really depends on what JJ needs and what's going on. Like I'm taking this Friday off, which would be nice. That was something that I committed to with my mindset coach last week.
Yeah, nice.
Take some time off. So, but when I say time off, I'm not like, I've got my normal life routine, but I'm talking actually going away and doing.
Absolutely. Like totally unplug from a phone and that sort of stuff, or just going. Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's gonna be awesome.
Now, what do you do to keep fit, Chloe? What do you do for exercise?
So we've got pre-baby and now. Pre-baby and where I will be getting back to was doing a lot of, I had a personal trainer, really good friend of mine, and I would do some one-on-one sessions with her, and I'd also, she ran a women's group as well, and we do a mix of like Tabata, core, strength, cardio. So
you're talking pre-pregnancy?
That's pre-pregnancy. Now, so there's still a bit of recovery for me after having a baby. So what I mostly do now is walking, stretching, just taking it really easy and slowly building up my my strength around, my back, my core,
pelvic floor exercises, that sort of stuff.
Pelvic floor, that sort of thing. So once once I've got that kind of strength to a place that I'm really ready, then I'll be back into. Oh, and I also play hockey. So. Not right now.
Yeah, no, I was going to say.
But I will.
What?
I'll be back into hockey. Yeah. I am I just live and breathe hockey. I absolutely love it. I don't know many people that play hockey that don't. It's just this culture, this whole environment. It's just unreal. Just love it being part of that team. And
talking really, about ice hockey here, right?
Field hockey.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe it's not as rough. It's not meant to be a contact sport like ice hockey, but yeah, it's still you can still get hurt.
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a big thing in my country. That's our pride, right? Czech Republic always gets the gold, most times.
So, Tristan, have you played?
No, but I've skated when I was a kid. Always been on ice rink and skated. Yeah, I've never. I don't know, for some reason I opted for breakdance instead.
Some of the idea of skating and things like that freaks me out. Something about sliding and being, I don't know, like I just haven't quite, I haven't probably had enough experience with it. But the last time I went skiing, so not quite skating, but skiing, I ended up, not on purpose, stabbing my husband with a ski pole because I was sliding backwards and his leg was in the way.
Ouch.
Oh, so bad. But yeah. No,
but don't get turned off by that experience. I mean, we gotta fall sometimes.
True, it's so true. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of one of those things I've probably gotta get my mind around and get back. Like at least give it one more go.
Yeah, I got to do that with surfing. I know, like when I arrived to Australia, it was actually one of the reasons I came to Australia. I was living in Scotland, and my friend was living here, and I'm like, where you going? He's like, Australia. I'm like, I checked it out. I'm like, oh, kangaroos, that sounds cool. Surfing, sun, that's it. Sold, going. And then initially I lived in Bondi, and I bought this big board, and I thought, I've always snowboarded back in my own country, so how hard it can be if I've already used to snowboarding. No, turned out it's a lot different, a lot more tricky. And of all the locals, obviously they've been surfing since they were kids, right? But one day I was just sort of got up the courage to actually catch the wave and jump on the board, and and it was actually a really big wave. I shouldn't have went for it, but my board just sort of nosedived in, and I just got totally smashed, and I ate lots of sand, and
Oh,
and with my teeth sort of into the sand at the bottom of the it's just bad experience. Though got put off by that, but I think I'm
oh
gonna
well,
give it a
there's
go.
our next commitment bit. I'll give skiing a go again, maybe with my husband at least 5 meters away though. If you get into the surfing when summer comes back around again.
That's it. Now, for business owners out there, what should they give a go is maybe trying to generate 100K in a year.
Heck yes, everybody should.
How do you go about that?
Okay, so there's kind of three things that not kind of there are three things that we really focus on.
I feel like we're surfing here between fitness and business.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Bit of a segue.
It's all interlinked. I know we've talked about this, but you got to have your mind and your health on point, so then everything else can just fly from there. You know, when you're not feeling your best, work doesn't happen or business doesn't happen or anything. And
that's it.
So this is a good surf. I like it. Okay, so three things that we focus on. So we keep it really, really simple. One is amplifying your network. So we look at, some really, key systems and key processes that we've used, we still use today to grow our network and help our clients with doing that as well. So that's all around, really leveraging social media. So not just posting for the sake of posting and seeing your name out there, but how do you actually turn that into sales calls or initial consults, things like that. So leveraging social media, referral partners. So really working with people that you align with really well, having some specific processes. We recently did this awesome case study around that. And, we had entrepreneurs that were adding 10K to their monthly revenue just as a result of putting in a process like that, which is awesome. And then running events. So whether that's online or offline or attending someone else's event. So like what we're doing here with podcast, like, being on a podcast as an example, and sharing networks and doing things like that. So that's the first one. Really focusing on that. I think most entrepreneurs are really good at focusing on that when they're first getting started as well. They go, right, I've got to start posting on social media. I've got to get myself out there, get visible when it comes to making an online revenue, or at least being seen online if they're running a local business. So they definitely get that started, but then it's about leveraging that and actually having systems. So you're not sitting there going, what do I write? When's the best time to post? How do I get consistent clients coming in the door? It's just, the systems. So you put those in place. The second thing is around revenue streams. So, I see people that want to just start off straight away with things like memberships, or they want to start off with things that take a long time to grow if you don't have the network in the first place.
Especially the membership stuff. And I'm not against that, because I think that that's awesome. And I know that they've got their heart in the right place and they want to get something out there and they just want to start helping people, and they feel like the low ticket's a good place to start. But it kind of cuts them off at the knees because they don't have enough revenue to pay themselves and then to also be reinvesting in their business. So we look at how do you package your expertise? So pricing is irrelevant. So cash flow is good. And so when you've really nailed the offers that are going to help you with cash flow, then you can start to add in all those other extra pieces. And, as well as that, you've already systemized, you've created a system that works. You've really worked with your clients on refining that. So then when it comes to actually training in a membership, it's so easy to communicate and relay that information because you've got the system. And not only that, you've got the system, you've tested it on your clients, you can also start training other people how to deliver that system. So again, that's just another way of bringing in some revenue, spreading that impact that you want to be having, especially when you know that you've got a service that is unreal and going to change the world, kind of thing. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is it's about maximizing your profit. So
doing things faster, easier, more hands-off. Automation is definitely where we look for that, so that you're not sitting there going, I just had someone fill out my form on a website, they've sent me an email, now I've got a bunch of things that I need to do in order to be able to either put them on an email list or to communicate with them or book them in for a call, and wasting a whole lot of time. So we look at maximizing profit as well. So those are the three. So maximizing your profit with systems, people, outsourcing, that kind of thing, increasing your revenue. And that's by looking at the things that are going to get you cash flow first, so you can reinvest in your business, and then start, adding in the other stuff like memberships and things like that. And then amplifying your network, which is just an ongoing thing where we consistently look at adding new systems and for amplifying your network and growing that. So
that's awesome. And the good thing about the system, the third thing, is that we live in times where there's so many new cool system, like software things, automations. Everything's just going at a crazy pace. The AI is about to sort of go in a big boom with there's already a bunch of things of automations, but it's only going to get even crazier. So it's that one is I feel like a kid in a candy store sometimes. Like there's something pops up on my Facebook, another thing. Oh wow, I was looking for.
I've got to try that.
yeah, systems and like. Create very, very creative ways on like solving problems. Like I was looking for, I just moved to this new place, like for example, and I was looking to, comparing, electricity and gas suppliers, and I create my own little spreadsheet and like comparing usage rates and whatnot. I'm a bit of a nerd with that. And after I've done all that, then I, open up my Facebook, at like one of those, I don't know how, if you do it, but I don't usually check my Facebook all day, and then at the end of the day I might like pop in and like have a look. And the first thing that, of course, because I've been browsing the internet all day, the first thing that pops up was another electricity supplier company, but it was one that I've never heard of, and they go, well, we're actually like 30% cheaper, and the way we do it is because we don't make money on the rates, we make money on a simple $10 membership fee. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So it's yeah. So
it's always watching and always listening in some way. It's surprising what ads end up popping up, and you're like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that you knew that.
Out of anything that you've done as far as your business goes so far, what's one thing that you wish you would have done differently when you started?
Vetted my coach. So right at the beginning, I didn't know what I didn't know, essentially. And so I went in for, I signed up for various different programs, and I feel like, and this was nothing on the coach that sold to me, because their value was unreal. It just wasn't what I needed right then.
Right.
And what I needed to do was I really needed to step up and have some level of maturity, or take some responsibility for my business, and say, what is it that I actually need right now? And for me, I didn't, while I've always been really good with automation and systems and things like that, what I didn't have a lot of strength on was social media. So I wasn't very strong there. And I'd say at the time as well, packaging, my packaging as well. So, I could have done with some great guidance from someone that specialized in marketing from that perspective. But what I ended up signing up for was actually more mindset coaching. So, get out and just post another thing and post another thing and post. So put quotes.
So you would have benefited more from somebody more technical on those areas rather than a mindset.
That's right. So someone more strategic. I mean, I know for most people, when you start your business, you're like, if you're anything like me, and I'm guessing like you as well, because, we've talked a bit about this, is you're just so motivated anyway. You're prepared to do the videos and you're prepared to put yourself out there and all that kind of stuff. And if you're that kind of person that's super motivated and super driven, all you need to know how. Once you've got the how, then you're away flying. You'll just absolutely make it happen, no problems. But I think for me at the time, it wasn't the mindset thing that I needed, because all I needed was, I already had the drive and I just wanted to move forward. I just needed to know how. So I think that's probably one thing that I would have done better in terms of starting my business. The other thing I would say would probably be, how would you say that? So probably being prepared to take a little bit more of a risk with getting help, or hiring someone to come in and help me early on. So, I did a lot of stuff by myself. And like I said, I got to a point where, I had too many clients, I was burnt out and all of that. And I think that at the time, I already had a extensive background in management and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know why I held on to everything so tightly. Or maybe it was because I was like, it's going to be too hard to train someone because I didn't have systems and things like that. But I feel like if I'd got in early enough and I'd hired someone that was actually good at systems anyway, that could look in on what I was doing and bounce ideas back with me, that I would be a lot further along, a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
But I only just recently had that experience, and somewhere between 9 and 12 months ago, I hired someone like that. And I said, look, I'm good at systems, but I'm kind of like a builder. So, a builder house is never finished, right? And that's what my business was like. It didn't have the systems. And I'm like, I need some help here. I need some perspective, because I'm so in my business that I can't see what needs to happen to be able to put these systems in place. This is what I want. And so hiring someone that was going to partner with me on that made a huge difference as well.
I like
and it doesn't even need to be heaps of hours either. So
you just need somebody to look from that bigger picture, because sometimes we, like you said, we're just too bogged down in little details in our own business that we forget to see the bigger picture. I like the analogy of Gary Vaynerchuk. He talks about the cloud and the dirt representing the detail, like our nose literally being in the works, and we forget to zoom out and then look at it from a bigger perspective.
Yeah,
so
it's so true. And that's exactly what it actually felt like. It was like being in the dirt or being in the mud and just trying to shift stuff out and trying to move it away. And, instead of, it's that real reactive space. It's like I got myself busy, which was what I wanted, but then it wasn't at the same time, because I couldn't get out of it. And so I needed someone that could look in and go, oh, okay, if we actually did this, this, and this, then you'd no longer need to be sending all of these emails or doing these things. And it's like, duh. If I was looking at my business, I would think that too, but I was too busy in it. So I couldn't see it. So yeah,
there you go.
I think that's what I'd do.
And same thing with exercise, right? Sometimes people are too bogged down on little things like, do I eat bread? Don't eat bread? What's the next? Do I have this pre-workout or that pre-workout? And they never look at they never look at the bigger picture. Because what is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is you need to understand the key principles, the overall principles that are always the same. You need to exercise regularly, you need to eat well, and then you can start looking at the little bits. But if you're not exercising regularly and you're not eating somewhat well, stop worrying about pre-workout unless you cover the essentials.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That stuff drives me nuts. Like I've got someone in my life. I'm not going to say who is exactly like that. So down to the new diets all the time and into the nitty gritty of, oh, you can't eat that because that's not keto or things like that. And I'm just like, oh my God, just let go of the detail and just listen to your body a little bit. Like, what's your body telling you? If you're bloated, you're tired, you're breaking out, you're all those kinds of things, your body's telling you that you need something different. But it's not down to that little piece of detail at all. And it's just starting with the simple stuff. And
And it's not that like those little things, like say, for example, supplements are not good, but they don't make as much of an impact in the grand scheme of things.
Mm. I
So,
fully believe that. And, my background a bit because we were talking about it, but I used to, I think it was more before I got healthy, I was looking for all the quick fix options. So, the supplements, the pills, the patches, even the smoothies, and all those kinds of things is just a way for me to not do what I felt was going to be really hard.
yeah,
And
it's
so
like a
then,
getaway option from actually doing what the hard work, which
oh,
is
totally is.
get up and move. Get up and move. Have your 3 proper meals a day. Prep your meals. Once you've done
Yeah.
that, then you can start worrying about, adding your BCAAs and pre-workouts.
And it's not even hard work. I think it feels like it because it's change. It's not something that you're doing today, so it feels like hard work. But
Oh
then when
no,
you're
yeah, the
doing
actual
it,
workouts, not at all. Yeah, it's all about just being consistent. Doesn't mean you have to smash yourself every session. Not at all.
yeah, and then it feels so good afterwards, right? Like it's remembering what you want to feel at the end when you're making any kind of choice around your food or your movement and things like that is how do I want to feel? And actually I want to feel energized, and so moving my body would actually help me do that,
Mm.
as opposed to sitting here on the couch and thinking about starting on Monday and how hard it's going to be.
Yeah, or if you have that big like that picture in your head of the complexity, it's going to be very hard to start. And also like what you said before, like starting on Monday, and then people do that and they go all in on it, but then they drop off so quick. It's one of the reasons why those New Year's resolutions don't work for so many people, because they haven't, they tackle it on from it's a mood driven need, like, oh, I feel sick and fat from eating all that Christmas food. I'm gonna go all in and I'm gonna get that 6-pack and everything. And they tackle on so many new, they incorporate so many new habits within 48 hours of kicking on that journey, that it's not you cannot like maintain it. It's too
You
many.
can't
You've
at
done too
all.
many new things in your lifestyle. You got to do it slow. You got to do it in a way that it's manageable. Just do one thing that's easy to incorporate, and just stick to it, and then add another thing.
Yeah, it is. It's so true. And it's a bit of a guilt cycle, essentially, right? It's like I've done all these bad things. So now I need to punish myself to get the result that we're not, I mean, naturally, we don't like people telling us what to do, and we don't like people controlling us. So why we think that controlling ourselves is actually going to get the result that we want, but it just doesn't. We've got this inner rebel that goes, well, screw you for trying to, make all these changes and trying to control me. I don't want that. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to make myself feel better by eating the chocolate and sitting on the couch and watching Netflix and doing all
That's
those
right.
kinds of things.
Extreme is followed by another extreme.
Yeah. And you just end up in this constant all or nothing cycle. I'm going to be all on diet and exercise, and then I'm going to be all off. And you just constantly like this all the time until you start to I guess bring the extremes closer together by just going one step at a time,
That's it.
being able to simplify it.
And the other good thing about doing it in a little steps is that what works. Like you incorporate one new thing, you wait a few weeks. Let's say sticking to more hydration, just drinking water more. Do that for a few weeks, and you see the difference. And then add another thing on top, as opposed to do everything at once. Then you will feel some results in a week, but then you also feel like, oh, now I have to do everything and continue on doing everything because I'm gonna fail, and then you will fail because it's not maintainable.
Yeah,
it gives
just
you
too intense.
So going back to what we talk about, KPI, not KPIs, but that sales funnel, right? You have to have a system in place in order to assess what works, and then you can tweak things. But when you tweak things, again, just tweak one thing. Don't tweak too many things, because at the end of the month, if something worked, how are you going to know what to attribute the success to if you've done too many changes, right?
It is so true, and it's exactly what like I'm experiencing now with learning how to introduce foods and things like that. So I know we're not here to talk about that, but it's if you introduce too many foods to a baby at once and their gut goes all over the place,
oh right, yeah, then
what food was it? You've got no idea, and you've got to wait a couple of days, and then you've got to just introduce one thing again. So it just overcomplicates it when you could just right from the start go, I'm just going to do just one step, 1% closer to where I want to be. Makes a huge difference in business, personal, exercise, everything. Just 1%.
Yeah. And with that, end on a good note. Chloe, it's been a pleasure having you here on the podcast for a good hour. How can people find you?
I'd recommend that they come and join us in the Health and Wellness Innovators Facebook group. So we have some awesome conversations happening there, great guest speakers, and just an awesome vibe, awesome culture in there. So the Health and Wellness Innovators Facebook group.
Awesome. And I'm going to put everything in the show notes as well. I'm just going to check one thing just to make sure. Is there anything that we said? Are we going to set up something for the listeners?
Yeah.
I can't remember. We are.
Yeah.
What is it?
So for anyone that is listening to the Success Inspired podcast, I had a bit of a chat with it, and what we'll do is 10% off for any of our programs that anyone comes in for. So all they need to do is use a coupon with us, or let me know when they jump on the phone with me and have a bit of a chat. So one thing for like us is that we want to make sure that we can really benefit you. We have a really bold promise. So we promise that we'll help people add 100K minimum to their business in 12 months. And so we have a bit of a vetting process with that as well to make sure that we can do that. So if you jump on the phone with me or any of my team, just make sure that you let us know that you'll listen to this podcast, and we'll take 10%.
That is an awesome offer, and very bold move as well. I've seen all the money back guarantees, but this is something I like as well. This is awesome. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you. It's been fun.
It was, yeah, definitely. We've done a bit of surfing as well. And for those of you guys listening, thank you for listening on today's show. And until next time, remember the shows are published every Saturday at 9 a.m. And I cannot wait to get you on the flip side. Thank you for listening to another interview on the Success Inspired podcast. On the next one, I'm talking to an author, storyteller, and the godfather of storyboarding from Hollywood, Mark Simon. Now, he's very successful at what he does now, and I'll mention some shows that he's been working on. But the main reason I got him on the show is because of his experience with being bullied when he was in school, to a point where his whole family has been attacked. So he shares with me the whole story, and he actually wrote a book about it called The Attacked, which is a memoir. And being attacked led him to his current career in movies and TV. He's worked on over 5,000 productions, including known TV shows like The Walking Dead and Stranger Things. This is a great interview to listen, and I think it'll be an inspiration to many of you who had it tough in school. To get notified about all the upcoming episodes, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. You can do that by visiting successinspiredpodcast.com, where you'll find all the links for all the relevant platforms where you can subscribe. And you can also share your review on iTunes. And you can subscribe to my mailing list to get additional insights, special tips, and cool resources that I'll be sending out. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and I'll look forward to have you on the show next time.